Daniels Holzmeyer, good to see ya. Who am I? Well, I'm Buck Nuts. I'm Radio 1979. I've been commenting about Ohio State football going back to 1996 on various websites. The Ozone, I was there as just Doug D. I think it was Doug D also on Buck Nuts back in the early days, 2002. Changed the moniker when they did the change over to 24/7. To Radio 1979. So I'm the guy that posts the memes most of the time when contributing to threads. So that's who I am on the internets. I am a 40-year broadcast veteran. I have worked in a lot of places. Started my career at WDLR 1550 in Delaware, Ohio in 1979. I went to Grove City High School. I worked in Waverly, Ohio for a couple of years as Doug Edwards, and I worked in Galion, Ohio, and then I went back to WDLR. And then my big break came in 1984 when I got to work at WRMZ 99.7. It's now the Blitz, but back then it was a country music station, at least some of the time. It was a country station that played Neil Diamond and Pure Prairie League and James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, and some other folks like that. Then I went to Wheeling, West Virginia, got into top 40 because that was my favorite format. And I was in Wheeling, and then I went out to Stillwater, Oklahoma, Pensacola, Florida, where my wife and I did a morning show. And then I came back to Ohio, and I went to work for Most Music 92X, which was the hot rock and flamethrowing top 40 station that competed with 97.9 WNCI. I was there in 88, 89, positioned on the radio 10 to 2 in between O'Malley and Olson in the morning, Adam Cook in the afternoon, and Susie Watt, Stereo Quad Susie Watt was the nighttime host. Then I went to Wheeling and Stillwater, Oklahoma. No, I went to Wheeling, and then where did I go again? Oh, I stayed in Wheeling. I was there from 1989 to 2000. Programming a radio station called WKWK. Went to Charleston, West Virginia, Rockford, Illinois, Chicago, Tri-Cities, Washington, Reno, Nevada. And until about a year and a half ago, I was in Monroe, Louisiana. And I came back home because Grove City, Ohio was my home. Wanted to come back to friends and family. And that's where I've been for the last 13 or 14 months at the time of this recording. So I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to get back into broadcasting. There aren't as many radio jobs as there used to be. So I'm kind of doing this. Well, I want to do this for a long time, but it helps me feel like I'm doing what I love most until I get an opportunity to do some part-time stuff at one of the local radio stations. But I'm a full-time mattress salesperson at Mattress Firm in Easton and Diamond Plaza on Morris Road. So that's what I do full-time for a living. But I thought I wanted to do this, the Brother Buckeye or the Buckeye Brother broadcast. And I call it broadcast for a reason because, I worked at radio stations that would get out about 15, 20 miles. A podcast can be listened to anywhere on the planet. So it is truly a broadcast. And so I will use the term broadcast if you don't mind. So I wanted to give voice to the average fan and to positive fans, not the negative Nancys. Too much negativity in the world, too much negativity on the Buckeye boards. Even in the wins, people will complain about this, that, or the other. And it's okay to critique a coach, a player, a position group. But I always harken back to after the third or fourth game of the 2021 season, there was somebody who runs one of the websites who basically said, in no uncertain terms, C.J. Stroud should give way to Kyle McCord. And I thought that was insane, especially after Stroud had thrown for 600 and 500 yards or so versus Oregon. They weren't watching the same Stroud that most of us were watching. So we'll keep it positive. We'll critique where things need to be critiqued. If we're watching a game where Trayvon Henderson and Mayan Williams are running wild, but Ryan Day is insisting to throw the ball on the 1 yard line. Yeah, I'm going to be critical of that. But, and if we're playing, rushing the quarterback when there's really no need to be doing that, when you need to be protecting a lead, like we saw in a game that we were dominating, the Michigan game last year, we were dominating the game until Knowles got stupid with some of his defensive play calling, and that game was totally on him. And being critical of him after that game made a lot of sense. But most of the season it was okay. And I really am optimistic about the 2023 season. Looking forward to fall camp. We'll be on here, maybe not every day, but most every day, giving you my thoughts on what's happening in the world of recruiting and what the reports are from the camp. Hopefully there won't be any injuries like we had to Evan Pryor. That really changed the complexion of the 2022 season, him being injured. No question about that. He was going to be a weapon that never materialized. And then when Henderson and Mayan Williams were hurt, it just was a mess. Don't think it'll be a mess this year. Deep running back room, wide receiver room, tight ends. Quarterback room is deep. Inexperienced, but deep. Offensive line, have some concerns there, but won't be concerned unless there are injuries or we see in those first few games that things aren't great. Tackles, that's what I'm concerned about, but we'll see how Fryer and company do. Defensive line, inside, outside, stacked. Linebacker, stacked. Safety, corners, quality and quantity. Offensive line, the biggest question mark. Maybe 2 question marks there. So if you want a place to talk Ohio State football in a positive way, then this is a nice place to escape to. I won't take things personally like some of these guys. I mean, I swear, watching some of these other guys who are, I'm sure they're nice guys, but they go way so far out on the limb that when things don't turn out that way, they take it personally. I mean, you can see the tears, and it's sad, but it's funny. But I still respect those guys, especially Birmingham and Austin Ward, and love Tony's work and the other fella. Is it Bob? No, I'm sorry, other guy with the broad shoulders. Your first name is escaping me right now. No offense. No offense. But anyway, so yes, I'm one more voice. It's from a fan's point of view. No insider stuff here. No predictions. I don't know where these guys are going. And we just learned the hard way with Marquise Lightfoot. Everybody said he was coming. Things changed. Everybody changed their crystal ball. That's BS. That's BS. That's BS. Don't change your crystal ball hours before the announcement. I mean, that's BS. I will criticize that kind of stuff. But otherwise, this is about having fun. Life is too short, and when you're 62 like I am, as of today, it's shorter than it's ever been before. So I'm going to be positive about life, about family, about being back in Ohio in the city Columbus, and I'm going to be positive about the Ohio State Buckeyes unless there's really good reason not to be. So thanks for checking out the introductory episode number 1 of this particular broadcast, this particular show. Hit the notification button. Try me out for a few weeks and see if I'm worth being among the 3, 4, 5 shows that you look to for sanity and information and thoughts on the 2023 edition of the Ohio State Buckeyes.